call the meeting to order. Would everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now we have for our consent agenda, which includes the approve the agenda and the minutes. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I do have one correction on the minutes. I think that we have Mr. Nelson's name, first name incorrect.
Sorry.
That's okay. No worries. If that's it, that's it. We're doing pretty good, right? All right. Moving on to citizens' comments then. Are there any citizens to be heard?
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Donald Crenshaw. I live at 2041 Woodlawn Avenue. We are a builder, developer, apprenticeship trainer, living here in the city of Erie, doing construction and development for about 35 years now. We own the two developments on 19th and 20th and Parade, one on either side of the street. The one and only first net zero passive house that we were able to create with workforce out of the community in 2018. And we started a apprenticeship program at that time. And with COVID and everything kicking in, we sort of died out. Since then, I've created an arm or an entity called PACTI, Pre-Apprenticeship Training Initiative. We will have our first graduates this week out of the training force into the union. They will be graduating, and we're taking individuals out of the city of Erie, young minorities, majority male and female, and our goal is to take them into the workforce arena as an apprentice, working with some of the local trades, as in the operators, engineers, laborers, sheet metal workers, plumbers, any of the unions that they can get into, having graduated from the pre-apprentice into an apprenticeship program. And with this taking place, we hope to address all of the blighted properties and construction projects throughout the city, so that the individuals, as they're renovating existing housing, they're learning how to do a little bit of all of the construction trades that we mentioned earlier. Since January of last year, we've renovated and sold 5 houses. 261 East 33rd sold roughly in January. It was on your blight list. We went in, completely renovated, sold it. 1967 Woodlawn sold in April. 1855 Linwood sold in September. 1721 Fairmont sold in December. And just recently in March, we sold 2366 Buffalo Road. That particular house sold for $109,000. That $109,000 is equivalent to what my tenants pay in rent, $800 a month. So my goal is to take individuals off of the rental side of housing and make home ownership out of it. We've had a successful home ownership program, Zoe Metals, about 15 years ago, where we took homes and we built them, we wrote them down. Even people that work here in this building were recipients of the program. They were able to get a home for roughly about $80,000, and they were able to sell it for over $150,000. So our home ownership program works. Everything I'm saying to you today is not something I say I can do, it's something that I've done. I'm asking the Redevelopment Authority Board as a whole to continue to work with us as we address the blighted properties throughout our community, as we address the ability to make workers that are skilled workers making a decent wage of $20, $25 an hour through addressing some of the blighted properties and taking them off of the blight list and making them homeowners. We have several properties that One of them is 1620 Plum. I received on 4/6 a notice of blight. The property at 1620 Plum Street was declared blight by the City of Erie Blighted Property Review Committee on 2/8. I've owned that property right here in the City of Erie under the absentee Section 17 renovation program. We bought it. It was on a demo list. We renovated it. We've had people stay there. Right now, I'm not sure why it was really labeled as blight. Nobody reached out and talked to me to say, what can we do? There's a few pieces of brick that's missing, but if you go inside the unit, you'll see it's not that bad. It's nowhere near as bad as 33rd was, and we made home ownership out of it. We sold the house for over $150,000. Our program works. So I'm reaching out today to Redevelopment Authority to say, let's put everything in the past, work with me. I think in the last 12 months, my actions speak as loud as my words. We've taken houses, we've renovated them, we've fixed them up, we've taken them off of the rental list. I own over 100 properties, very similar to the former life of our chair, Mr. Scalise. We do affordable housing. Low to moderate income tenants are challenging in the arena of they lack a lot of opportunity. They lack access to capital. We're looking to make a change with that. And through the Redevelopment Authority and you working with us to allow some of the funding that's out there to be available to those first-time homeowners, to individuals that can fix up their houses, some of the same individuals that I have fixed up houses and sold, I hope they can come to the Redevelopment Authority and access some of the dollars for driveways, additional renovation. The houses are code compliant now, but there's other things that can be done. One of the biggest one is driveways, sidewalks. We are renovating housing all along Buffalo Road. I reach out and ask to you now. There's a tract of land of about 8 houses that all sell in the next 2 to 3 months. They need sidewalks and driveways. We are getting them affordable by renovating them, bring them into code compliance, but these are things that you guys could help by saying, yes, let's target an area. Let's target Buffalo Road, one of the main corridors going through Erie, and let's make these dollars available to these new home buyers that they can continue to fix up their areas. Also, there are other blighted properties that are on your blighted list. 22nd, 324 East 22nd Street. If you go by there, last week we put a tarp on the roof. We're gonna put a new roof on. We've cleaned up the property. There's an old abandoned car, which is not mine, it's just somebody dumped. We've called the police department to tell them to come get it. We've called the towing company to tell them to come get it. It's a vacant car that's abandoned on my property. I don't own it, the grass is mowed, we keep it up. So I'm just reaching out today and re-emphasizing to the Redevelopment Authority. Guys, I've been in affordable housing business for 35 years. Nobody's done more for home ownership and what we've done in the city than what we've done. I don't want to be fighting with the Redevelopment Authority or any city body, and when it comes to fixing up houses, that's our goal. When it comes to making home ownership, that's our goal. And I think as a developer, I don't know of any persons or companies that have made more home ownership and made it affordable than I have. And we're about to renovate, with the cooperation with the Redevelopment Authority, and I think we can get this. There's a blighted property, 2708 Downing Avenue, that 1 block from there, that's my council calling. We're about to do an 8-unit tax credit development, 11 units. In a matter of the next 30 days, you're gonna see 11 new houses built, 1 block from 2708 Downing. We're gonna start June 1st to June 30th. The city will receive the prints and drawings. We're investing in that community. We need your help, we need your support. We need to work together and not run up legal bills. Nothing against council, but we don't want to be paying out bills to have things done that can be done without running up legal bills. So I'm here today to say, work with me. We're here as a goal is the same as yours, make a difference in our community, make home ownership, and give true opportunities to the minorities within this city. It's a shame that I'm the only developer, only general contractor, and maybe one of the few builders as a minority in the city of Erie. So I ask you as Redevelopment Authority, let's put the past in the past, let's look at it, let's recognize it, and let's make a difference. And one of the ways to make difference is home ownership, making truly affordable housing, and job opportunity. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, we'll go on to the finance report. Mr. Snippert. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So first in the packet, we have the balance sheet or statement of financial position. We are showing receivables of $75,374.59. On page 2 of that, it is showing that our accounts payable was $156.3, which we have discovered is inaccurate for anything that's being reimbursed through the grants. It is duplicating the bills because we are entering it as a bill and paying it, and then we are entering it as a bill again when we are receiving funds from the grant for that account to pay. So it's closer to $78,150. We are scheduled for after-tax season to work with Beth Pinter at McGill Power Bell to see if it's possible to separate those without having to have a separate QuickBooks account for each individual sub-grant, and then create separate bank accounts for each one of those sub-grants as well. Or if we possibly have to look into a different software that's more geared towards reimbursable grant funding. We do have a demo scheduled for this Wednesday to look at a different accounting software to try to rectify that situation. So then the profit and loss is the next, the statement of activity, and so we're showing total revenue of $992,031.45. Net revenue is $237,809.15. And then the final page in there is for right now the month-over-month cumulative drawdowns that we've been using thus far. So again, with the QuickBooks, we're running into the same situation where we have entered everything to do a year-to-date balance and cumulative drawdowns, but it is duplicating almost every bill in there. So we're again trying to work with the accountant to see what our options are moving forward.
So the goal would be to give us some benchmarks in terms of comparing the actual to a budget amount.
Right.
Yeah, last week we pulled several different budget versus actual reports out of QuickBooks, and nothing was what we wanted it to look like. It was not pulling the information that we thought we were trying to get, so we're still working toward that, and I think a different software might be a better option, but we're going to explore that in depth before we make any recommendation to the board.
And then the final packet for the finance report is the check detail. So those were just all of the checks that were dispersed during the month of March.
I noticed a series of voided checks.
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
You want me to? Okay.
Yeah.
So as part of the East Bayfront Greenway Trail project,
Yes.
We had attempted to option or put in agreements to purchase those repository lots in the East Bayfront Greenway Trail area off the repository list. There was a little bit of confusion between the county and their website. They had listed several properties that were not available on their website. So when Mindy had taken those checks over to purchase those properties, that's when they found that they had the wrong list on their website. So all those checks had to be voided. So those properties are still vacant and still available. Unfortunately, they're owned by an investor out of California currently, so who wants more than $250 for them.
Understood. Okay, thank you. Any questions on the finance reports? Motion to accept the finance report as filed?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, Mr. Snippert, turn it over to the Executive Director's report.
All right, so the property report for February and March, not much activity as far as the Redevelopment Authority goes. No property acquisitions, no disposition. Again, we have no commercial facade program at this time. The Blighted Property Review Committee met in February. They blighted 11 additional properties and had one blight rescinds during that time. Currently, there's 215 properties that are active with blight declarations. 49 of those are under some level of intervention by the Redevelopment Authority or the Erie Land Bank. So that is the property report for your review and approval with a resolution.
Slow news day.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have a resolution to accept the property activity report as presented. Is there a motion to accept the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, and then rehabilitation report, lead hazard control grant. Right now, we've completed 53 projects. There's currently 8 under contract and many others still in the application process phase. Next week, Holly and Cynthia will be attending program manager school for the lead grant. Hopefully, we're hoping to get some kind of answer on how HUD wants us to and other grantees to proceed with revising our benchmarks. Really, regionally and nationally, we're all having an issue with production, contractor capacity. So we're not alone as that goes. We've asked probably over the last 8 to 9 months, how HUD would like us to restructure our benchmarks and apply for a grant extension. They've been kind of quiet on that, so we're hoping that next week at program manager school that there's a little bit of resolution there so that we can get everything in place to move forward with that. The ARP Healthy Homes Grant, right now we have 21 projects in process, 30 applications in process, 15 under contract, and 11 projects completed. We're working toward a goal right now of getting 70 applicants approved. Holly's working diligently on that. It's kind of difficult to get some information in to complete that application process, but we're trying to get there. Working through the CDBG projects and get those grants allocated so we can spend that funding under the CDBG program. Still working with the city on the home. County Rehabilitation, Act 137 program still going. Other than that, the other CDBG projects within McCain, Albion, and Girard are wrapping up. We're wrapping up the funding there. That is about it. Right now, we have 2 lead abatement contractors, and it says we have 9 contractors bidding on projects. Over the last several weeks, I think we've increased that list of contractors by about 5. So we're continuing that outreach to the local contractor community in an effort to bring more contractors who are wanting to bid and perform the rehabilitation work that we have that substantial amount of money for, and just not the contractor capacity to complete it. So that's the rehabilitation report. Any questions?
Thank you. I think we turn it over to our solicitor, and we appreciate receiving reports in advance. So
Yes, good afternoon. New Year's resolution I'm trying to keep, but it's early in the year.
Indeed, well, we're acknowledging good behavior, so that's
I'll try to keep it open, no problems. Yeah, you'll see the memorandum, which again is the itemized breakdown of what we've been doing. There are those 2 matters that are still kind of in limbo with the Commonwealth Court. We do have a new hearing on the valuation set for April 24th, 2023 with regard to 2708 Downing Street. There has been discussions with that situation. The 1319 Parade Street, that was a condemnation that resulted in the estate getting some funds after paying expenses and the back due taxes and other expenses. That check was issued to the estate. There's an attorney involved in that. So that has taken place, and we've closed that file and that transaction out. 221 Locust Street, this is the one where we have a view set. It was kind of like a balk in baseball. It was started, but it was a false start, and then we've gotten a replacement. The replacement viewer is Bob Glowacki. That second view is going to take place on April 20th. Everybody's notified. We're going to notify them a couple of more times before that to make sure that everybody's there who needs to be there and wants to be there. And again, what that process will be is that the viewers will have an opportunity to go through the house, go into the house. I'll be there with Aaron and Mindy to whatever extent they want to go in. I still haven't decided whether I'm going to go in the house. But a picture of me donning a hazmat suit might be kind of funny. But in any event, that's an opportunity for them to go through. I don't know that a formal hearing date has been set, but it will be set shortly thereafter when we'll have the hearing and make our argument with regard to the value, and then the owner will as well. And I don't think that they didn't go in it. The attorney for the owner did not go in at that prior time. So I want to see their reaction when they go inside. So in all likelihood, I'm getting myself fired up to go in. The rest of the petition, there's any number of them. They are set for the valuation hearing on April 28th, the end of this month. So that'll be a full day of those hearings. And we should go through them in pretty short order because we have not, no one's objected to them, no one's raised any concerns. So those that have been objected to that were removed from were 934 West 17th Street and 602 West 9th Street. So we were gonna have hearings on those preliminary objections the end of the month as well. So it's gonna be a busy month for our executive director over there. So I'll keep them busy. And then, as usual, what I want to do on page 2 is to let the board see a breakdown as to the sales that were completed kind of in the last quarter and the beginning of this quarter. And then there are a number of properties that we're trying to get sold, and we're working on various issues so that those are broken down for the board to observe as well. With that, I'd ask for you to accept the solicitor's report. Or with any questions?
Um, 602 West 9th Street is the one that had a fire recently, and did we board that up, or somebody board that up, or
Yes,
secure that?
yes.
Is it our responsibility or somebody? Yeah.
It's our responsibility. So yeah, we did get it boarded up.
It's not boarded yet. We have price, we requested
Okay.
price.
Yeah, and it's like 10 feet away from the neighboring properties, so it's, it's a
Yeah.
tight fit there. So,
But
okay.
that certainly is a priority, and that's important in
Yeah,
the process.
yeah, it's very close to the neighboring property in Cherry and on 9th Street, I saw.
Can you not do emergency procurement for that?
We can, we have done that in the past. We decided that there were several properties that we needed to get done because we don't want that fire situation occurring again. It had been screwed shut. We had some boards over it and the doors and everything were screwed shut, but people still got in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then item number D4 is general updates. Mr. Snippert?
All right, so just some general updates. We signed last week the grant agreement with the Commonwealth for the lead program through the PA state office for $474,800. That's going to complete 15 lead hazard control projects within the city of Erie. Met a couple weeks ago with the County Department of Planning to go over the PA whole home repair program, which the county has been awarded, little over $2 million. Estimation is we're going to complete 73 units. The agreement is going to incorporate Redevelopment Authority of the City of Erie and the Corey Redevelopment Authority as participating partners in expending that funding. The county executive had met with the director of the Corey Redevelopment Authority about administering some housing services programs, since their direction is to get a little bit more out of the industrial commercial and focus on some of the residential within the Corey, the city of Corey. So we're going to work with Ben Kafferlin and the Corey Redevelopment Authority, provide him some information, some boilerplate documents, and kind of some mentorship on housing rehabilitation services, and really allow them to perform the housing services for the city of Corey and the municipalities that surround it. I mean, it's a drive for us, it's a drive for our inspectors, and if they can facilitate it, we're welcome to help them build that capacity.
There hasn't been much of a cooperation between the City of Erie Authority and the City of Corey Authority, so this is some cutting-edge initiative, right?
Right, yeah, no, it's certainly, I think, going to be a benefit for the city of Corey. We probably, I can count on my two hands how many times we've done a rehabilitation project in the city of Corey over the last 10 years. We know there's a need. I think it's just a matter of the trust of, us being in the city of Erie and people in Corey not really wanting to come in here to sign documents. So hopefully having that local connection will help get that area the need within the county. The other part that is different with the PA home repair program in comparison to the others, it allows work on mobile homes manufactured structures. So we're going to, I feel, see a large amount of applicants in the mobile home parks that encompass Erie County. We know McCain has several, Mill Creek has several as well, so I know we're going to see some interest there since those individuals have been excluded from any other grant funding that we have had in the past. And then I met last week with the Housing Authority of the City of Erie. If you're not aware, we have an intergovernmental agreement with them to provide services associated with their $1 million lead grant they were awarded several years ago. We performed testing of the units in the Harbor Homes complex, along with scope writing for the lead hazard control projects, clearance testing, and then post-abatement reporting. We're going to expand that agreement to include the annex. They're going to get a request into HUD for an expansion of that. Right now, we're amending the agreement, and we're going to start testing 230 units for lead, and entering a contract to obligate the funds so that they can show that they're moving some of that money forward for $125,000 between now and August. So that's going to be moving forward relatively quickly. We're going to get the second XRF instrument that we have resourced so that we have the capacity to have 2 risk assessments done at the same time. So we're building that capacity there as well now. So that's my report.
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you. So on to item E, unfinished business.
All right. So last month I mentioned that we're going to start providing to the board quarterly an update on the ARPA programs, the housing plan. So it provided kind of the budget overviews for the different programs that we have under the housing program. The first one should be on the top here is 5056, which is the blight removal program, so blight mitigation. Moving forward on that, of course, some of the hearing of value that Gene had talked about on the 28th from the November filings is the first round of that program. So once those properties, the hearing is complete, we'll be able to move forward on that. So we'll get those. Mindy has also identified 25 in the QCTs, I believe. It was a lot. We took 35 properties in front of the Planning Commission in February. The Redevelopment Authority Board last month approved the resolutions of both of those condemnation actions. So a vast majority of those are under the blight mitigation program, under the ARPA funding. So those costs and fees will steadily grow over the next quarter as those properties come online and we start to make the determinations as far as demolition or rehabilitation on those. The Healthy Homes Grant, I touched on that. We have been completing projects, enrolling applicants, and moving those projects forward, trying to get that pipeline going so that those projects can move forward as quickly as possible. East Bayfront Greenway Trail Project included that one. We met 2 weeks ago with Michael Baker International to kind of try to go over the preliminary final plan for that. We are scheduled to meet with them again this Thursday to provide some updated lists, hopefully to get a more definite plan on where that trail is going to go. We've done some evaluation of the properties in that area. I think we have a decent idea of where it's going to go, so we're just going to get that final list together so that we can continue to move forward on that program as well and start acquiring some properties there. And then the last sheet is the ARPA administrative budget, just kind of an overview of the funding that we've pulled down to date through that budget. We're on draw 12 currently, and have pulled down over the last year and a couple months, $298,719 out of that as the administrative cost associated with administering and running the multiple housing programs under that.
And these are all 3-year programs, or am I correct on that, or?
Yeah, the 3 years, they're to be expended by December of 2026.
Okay.
So there's still a lot of conversation and I guess back and forth on what obligated means, whether or not we're obligated, and we're past that December of 2024 date, and we can move on to the 2026 date. So it's, I guess, my opinion that we've been obligated by the city of Erie since we entered a contract and an agreement on it. So we have until December of 2026 to spend that money. We're trying to, over the next year, well, before December, to expend as much and show as much movement as we can to ensure the city that we do have the capacity and momentum to complete these grants by December of 2026. That's that for that. I provided our quarterly report, which we provided to the city for you to review, read over, ask any questions. The only other thing I will mention is that after the study session we had a few weeks ago, the ENGP meeting is this Thursday at 1 o'clock. We're meeting in the right room at Gannon to review those 3 commercial loan programs with the ENGP membership. Anybody on the board is welcome to attend. Hopefully get some guidance from them on how we could structure and make those programs as beneficial to the neighborhood groups and other organizations and developers as possible.
Okay. And I plan on attending that as well.
That would be great.
Sorry, when is it?
Thursday at 1 o'clock.
All right.
That, and I kind of lumped the 1 and 2 there together, so.
I see it. Is there any other business?
No other business.
What am I going to do for 25 minutes?
I know, right?
So, well, if there's no other business or announcements, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, and before we close, Mr. Alberstadt, thank you for joining us, and any words of wisdom before we close the meeting? None needed, but I always like to give you a chance.
Not needed, but I would suggest, Chuck, that the Erie Club is within 25 minutes of the current location.
Indeed. Thank you for the reminder. And happy spring. All right, where we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.